But I was really interested in going to the Army because they had a warrant officer helicopter program. I went in there and the recruiter said, that program's been shut down, it's full. And I went over to the Marines and the recruiter there said, you got 2 years of college. If you pass the physical and the mental test to become a pilot, the Marine Corps will take you in to become an officer and a pilot with just 2 years of college. And I said, that's for me. I got a chance to go to the Presidential Helicopter Squadron. I went to Quantico, Virginia, the unit there, HMX-1 it's called. The X stands for experimental, because when the squad, and it's number 1, because when the squadron first stood up in 1947, it was the first Marine Corps helicopter squadron, and the commandant of the Marine Corps said, okay, you guys, I want you to tell me about this thing called a helicopter, and that's what they were supposed to do. And they still do follow-on test and evaluation of equipment and related stuff on helicopters. Everyone has to get qualified in the presidential helicopter, which is the H-3. There's 3 helicopters there with 3 crews, and they're all hot, if you will, on call 24 hours a day in case the balloon goes up and they got to get the president out of Dodge in a hurry. I was in awe of being around the president. When President Reagan, he would poke his head in the cockpit and say, hi, how are you guys? Ho, ho, ho. And then he'd go sit down. But that was interaction, that was it. I like to bring out and tell people about my travels with the Presidential Helicopter Squadron. We went to a place called Xi'an, China, where they have the terracotta statues. It's out in the outback of China, which is pretty outback, pretty remote, near the Gobi Desert. We had to break the helicopter up into a million pieces and reassemble it there because of the runway couldn't take the weight of Air Force transports. We had to use smaller transports, C-130s, to bring it in. And so we had 2 C-130s, helicopter in a million pieces, but 3 days, and the guys put it all back together, and we had to spin it up, and we had to go fly it for an hour then before we could put it into the mission. And we had two minders, if you will, Chinese, that had to fly with us. And I told them, I was the point of contact. I told them about this, and they looked at me like, what? And so they went over to the side, and about 20 guys all gathered together like this. And just like the old Keystone Cop movies, have you ever seen that? Where somebody pop up their head and look over at us to see if we're listening at all, like we could understand Chinese. And they came back and said, okay, you fly 1 hour right here overhead. Then we fly with you after you're sure it's safe. Okay.